Indian weddings, organized in association with Wedding Sutra. So allow me to introduce Parthiv, who is the co-founder of weddingsutra.com and has been a long-time friend of the show.
We start with the rapid fire. So actually, while Achint takes a few breaths, we'll go to Pooja. Your first destination wedding in India?
It was in Ludhiana because that time I only had my office in Delhi.
Okay.
So I had not started Bombay yet.
Ludhiana.
So it was Ludhiana.
When we think of Ludhiana, we think of nothing but luxury and just money, coming down from the air.
Yeah. And it was amazing. It was
okay.
a very good
Achint, where was your first destination wedding in India?
My first destination wedding was in 2007
Wow.
in Mahabaleshwar at the Brightlands Resort,
Lovely.
Yeah.
And overseas?
Yes, my guest was from Dubai, and that was the time when Mr. Amir Khan got married in Panchgani.
Nice.
So these kids wanted to get married somewhere close there, so we chose Brightland Mahabaleshwar as a venue.
Wow. And international, where was the first wedding you orchestrated?
The first international wedding was in Thailand.
Obviously.
Yeah, that's right.
And I guess Krabi?
It was Krabi, yes.
Sofitel Krabi.
Sofitel Krabi, that's
Great.
right. Yeah.
My next question is, this is more for Darshan, because the last destination wedding, where did you orchestrate it?
Umaid Bhawan.
Umaid Bhawan. May I request the organizers to tell the people in the stage to keep the volume a little low? Yeah.
Yeah.
And Zashank, yours?
Mine was Jai Mahal, Jaipur.
Jai Mahal, Jaipur. Achint, yours? Last destination.
The last I did was a couple of days ago at the St. Regis in Mumbai. Yeah.
You can figure the number of weddings he is doing. He probably doesn't even remember where he was. Where was
That's
where,
very
sorry,
kind
can
of
you
you.
repeat it?
It was the St. Regis. We had 125 rooms for the overseas guests, and the wedding couple was from Mumbai. So we had about 600-800 guests for the Sangeet and the reception.
St. Regis,
That's
Bombay.
right. That's right.
Pooja, yours.
Fairmont, Jaipur last week.
Great. Okay, we go back to Hari. How many hours do you sleep when you're at a high energy destination wedding?
I don't think so. Sleep is important actually, because the requirements by any wedding client is such that it is, I want it now. And they think that we are magicians who can deliver within seconds, minutes or whatever. So we are, even whether it's 3 a.m. or 4 a.m., there's a call. And when a call comes, we are worried. And so we have to be awake to see to that we deliver the next day morning's program as per their wishes. So it's not easy. So sleep is a luxury which we don't get.
Achint, how many hours do you sleep at a destination wedding?
I'll be honest, I sleep a lot at my events.
Good. Well organized.
The plan is that we come up with a good team. As Hari said, we are available 24/7 for the clients, always. That's the plan, because we are here to serve our clients. But yes, we plan it in such a way that the early mornings are very critical, because that is when the team needs to be up and running. And then all day, automatically, it falls into place,
Great.
But yeah, we make sure we get our time to sleep, yeah.
Darshan.
I don't think I sleep as much as Achint does, but not as little as Hari does either. So somewhere in the middle, I would say.
Okay.
I think maybe 3-4 hours. And
Zashank?
I think 3-4 hours is good enough. We get used to, with the 3 hours, we get energized and we can work the next day.
So, Pooja, can the wedding designer sleep a little longer than the planner?
No, we don't get sleep. The anxiety level is so high that there is no sleep.
It's
And
more
like you
about
said, sleep is
the
luxury.
inability to sleep due to the brain overworking. That could be the reason. Often, yeah. So, but of course, I would still think that the designer has a little more luxury than the planner. You don't have to worry about the bar closing and other things. You do your
we don't
setup.
have to worry about that. But the Sangeet night for us is haldi the next day morning.
Okay.
So we have to stay up all night to deliver the haldi so that the planners can come and take over after the setup is
And
done.
tell you what client said, ye karna chahiye, wo karna chahiye. Absolutely, really nice.
And then planners come with a list also last minute.
Okay.
Iska masking karo, uska masking karo.
Okay. I'll continue with you, Pooja. What do you look forward to eating at a destination wedding? Is it the local food? Or do you follow, is it, you're very particular about what you eat when you're...
No, I'm very not particular about what I eat because food is honestly the last thing that comes on mind. Because dinner is at 4 a.m. or 3 a.m. and lunch is at 6 in the evening. But there is nothing called breakfast. Like it doesn't exist until we check out from the hotel. So food is anything and everything, whether it's a packet
Achint,
of
do
chips.
your people have to get you something specific or you just eat whatever is available?
No, we're very easygoing. I mean, the
Okay.
team food is all planned, always. We have a manager for our team who travels at the events. So this manager looks after the team management.
Okay.
And me in person, I look after myself. Whenever I get my time, I just sneak out, grab a
Great.
meal and come back. Yeah.
Okay, so I think we're done with the rapid fire because we don't have much time for the thing, but I'll just end with one question for Darshan. Tell us about one wedding where you made the most number of recce's.
Oh dear. That would be my Muscat wedding. I think 8 recce's.
Wow.
In fact, I've done day trips to Muscat. I've taken the 5 a.m. Indigo to Muscat and then 11 o'clock flight back to Muscat. So
That explains wedding tourism. It's not just the guests traveling. Just imagine the number of times the families and the planners travel ahead of the wedding.
yeah, I think that would be the max number of recce's I've done in a wedding.
And how many food, which is the wedding for which you've done the max? I know this is a question you'd love answering. The wedding where you did the maximum food tastings.
That is the wedding I'm doing on Monday in Leela, Jaipur.
Okay.
At least 6 food tastings we've done. And still they're not happy with the menu. So I'm sitting, maybe after that. No, I'm not enjoying it.
No complaints.
Not-
If I was a wedding planner, I would enjoy the food tastings the
I'll
most.
be very clear. If it's a Marwadi client, they suck your blood out of in food tasting, right? Isme pyaz mat dalo, isme achar. They instruct the chef, executive chef of Leela is listening to that. In the food there's pyaz less, and you put more makhan in this, and all that kind of stuff. So, and beyond the point, it becomes, I don't know, very. You switch off, I'm like, whatever you want to eat.
Has
now.
anyone crossed Darshan's record? 8. He said he's done 8 recce's to basket. Have you ever crossed that, Hari?
So again, coming back to the Jagmandir, because Jagmandir was a khandar, in 8 months, I used to fly Bombay, Delhi, Udaipur, Delhi, Bombay. In a month, I should travel minimum twice. So in 8 months, you can imagine,
16 recce's.
16 plus. There were a lot of paintings of the historical monument to be done, which was run down, and a lot of pots which were broken, which had to be remade. So we went through hell in that 8 months, but that was a super learning. Fantastic.
And that was a time you didn't even have WhatsApp.
There was nothing there at that time. Yes, absolutely.
Imagine how
it
wedding
was
planners, I know Achint will be able to answer this. Pooja will not even know what it is because when she was born, WhatsApp was there. But can you imagine, Achint, how you did weddings without WhatsApp? Huh? Maybe I think it was in a way good also. You didn't have clients on WhatsApp.
I mean, it was pretty simple because we had to be there everywhere personally, Now we do things on WhatsApp and calls and things are so structured, and earlier it wouldn't be the case. As he rightly said, like he had to travel to Jagmandir on numerous occasions. I'm sure today if he has to do something in Jagmandir, it's like, and it's done.
The whole system is there. And not to forget the Wedding Sutra WhatsApp group.
Always. That's the greatest asset all of us have in this country, and we only have Parthip to thank for that. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Achint. As they say, you can plan a wedding in 30 minutes. Sometimes I get a little too worried when senior planners complain to me, listen, boss, you've made it too easy now. We slog too much. Let them also slog a little. Okay. Now, over to our friend Vivek. I would like to ask you, any example of how how Mauritius benefited immensely thanks to one wedding? I know Mauritius your picture perfect destination has hosted many weddings. If client privacy of course this is not a client privacy thing because the pictures are out. Is there one wedding which really created the impact for the destination?
See, it's not only one wedding. It's a lot of weddings which create massive impact. And when clients come to Mauritius, they see what Mauritius is all about. Of course, I mean it is scenic. That is one thing. They see the hospitality. Hospitality.
I must say, it's just too good, and there's no language barrier there.
Yeah, no
I love
language
the way
barrier.
all the hotel staff address you as boss. Yes. Yeah.
No, and the hospitality is absolutely next level.
Okay.
And of course, the staff in the resorts or the local planners, the suppliers there, they all understand the requirements, the peculiar requirements of Indian weddings. Like they know there's going to be a haldi, there's going to be a sangeet,
Sure.
There's going to be a reception, you need a ghodi, you need a band. So all those things are pretty much simple. No wedding planner has to go and teach all those things like in some other countries.
Sure.
And also what happens is when the guests come attend the wedding, then they see the magnificence of the country. And then they come back again. So they in turn become our brand ambassadors.
I would think more than coming back every night, many of them even stay on for longer.
They stay on. So there is always a pre and a post
Perfect.
for a lot of clients. And when they come, and a lot of them, then when they see the kind of things they have attended, they plan their kids' weddings. So that is also a collateral benefit for us.
Very often, if it's the family, then they will not plan the next wedding in the family in the same destination,
friends.
but for the guests.
Yeah, for the guests.
So, Darshan, what Vivek has told us is that many weddings create an impact. But since you take a lot of interest in photography and film, I know whenever you're doing a wedding at a new destination, you always call me for a good photographer recommendation. But I would like to know from your own experience, it could be a wedding which you planned or somebody else planned, how those bridal portraits or the film really created an interest in the property or the destination.
It does play a huge role. See, I mean, there are different ways about, how bridal portraits or pre-wedding shoots are done.
And there are so much, there are photographers with so much talent. Some are brilliantly talented, and their photos, which are worth 1,000 words, create much more impact. Yeah.
Yes. So I think, obviously, people go to Wedding Sutra, Instagram and stuff, and obviously, when they do bridal portraits, I'll give an example of a hotel like the Shangri-La in Muscat. It really took off after the first couple of weddings because the pre-wedding shoot, the hotel in the background, the sea was quite highlighted, and people just generally got intrigued, and it got it free publicity, right? So that's the benefit. Obviously, when you go to a place like Oman, then you go different places to do a pre-wedding shoot.
I also remember another wedding where, which was of your relatives, which took place at Pattaya. The bridal portraits were so stunning.
Yes,
They created, and this was again something which Sabyasachi shared. They were so stunning that, even a destination like Pattaya, which has its own little thing of, bachelor hotspot and all, but it just, the impact that one portrait, this was...
My sister-in-law, yeah.
Yes, I remember.
It went crazy. It was on billboards and it was all over the place.
I would say 1 out of 10 weddings only can go viral. And either that's because of the reels or because of brilliant portraits.
I'll just add on to that.
Sure.
It's not only that, it's the younger crowd these days, when they go to a destination, they will dress up in all their finery and stand in place of a nice location, which is associated with
And
the
I
wedding.
must tell you,
and it
today's
goes viral.
brides and bridesmaids look better than most supermodels
absolutely.
too.
Absolutely. So, that also benefits us. In a large
I tell
way.
a lot of hotels, there was a time when they would really invest on top photographers, best models, but today you have a fashion-forward bride and her squad coming in. Your marketing material for 2 years is set, right? You don't have to. This is exactly what I'm referring to, destination branding and wedding tourism. A lot of people who are not from the industry may not really, may not be able to figure what I'm talking about. But these are real-life examples of how fashion-forward brides and their squad create marketing, material for a property or a destination like no other. My next question is for Achint. What is the typical format your clients are interested in now? Which is, in simple words, number of rooms and number of days.
If it's a wedding in India, typically the average size is about 150 odd rooms.
Okay, so about 350 guests, yeah.
And 2 days largely. Mostly.
2 days, 3 nights.
2 nights and 3 days.
Okay.
But
Obviously,
eventually,
right.
50,
in
60
India,
rooms
you can
come
still
one
do
day.
you said 2 nights and 3 days.
2 nights. And then 1 day prior, 50, 60 rooms with family
Sure.
and close
But
friends.
abroad, it's usually 3
A
nights.
minimum of 3 nights.
And
Three
number
and
of
plus
rooms
one.
if it's abroad?
Now we're doing the weddings that we're doing this year is about 200 and 300 rooms. Yeah, that's right.
So you're saying more number of rooms abroad?
Oh yes, we've done buyouts in Turkey now for the month of May with 2 properties for more than 350 rooms. So it's like
So
700.
it's very difficult to say if anything has changed post-COVID. It is all dependent on the family, right?
No, in fact, I feel it's even picked up more post-COVID. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, great. My next question is for Darshan. How do you think some tourism boards can make the extra efforts? We, of course, have Vivek, who's a very dynamic guy. He's excellent at relationship management and very popular among planners. So he already knows the answers, but I'd like the perspective to come from a planner. How do you think tourism boards can make the extra efforts to woo ultra HNI families or HNI families?
So
Get weddings?
ultimately, it boils down to 2 things. When you are trying to take a high-end Indian family to an international destination, one is hospitality and one is food.
Okay.
I think if tourism boards or hotels or generally people understand the fact that Indians require more hospitality and more kind of attention than a regular kind of a FIT client, and how important food is and how do you facilitate the process of getting them the food that they want in international destination. I think that makes the whole process, that's 50% of the battle won over there. A lot of places miss this point. It's not about the beauty of the hotel, it's not about how big your suite is or how opulent your ballroom is. That's almost secondary for an Indian client because they have traveled all across the world nowadays. So hospitality and food are the two main key discussion points that we have with any destination, international destinations, before we kind of
So
close.
it's before you, when you start marketing, you're saying start with focusing on hospitality and food, and then of course talk about many other
I mean,
things.
I don't know what, but the first time I go and say, okay, let's do wedding in, say, Turkey, how will I do my food? First question I get is, how will I do my food? That's literally the first question. Then I have to explain to them, how, and then everything else is, I mean, all these destinations have international brands. They live up to a certain standard. It's, not much of a difference between say a Fairmont in here or Fairmont there. They're the base standard. So I don't think people are really worried about hotel and the brand. They're more worried about the food and hospitality.
Sure. Before we go on to the other things, my question for Pooja is, again, wedding imagery. How do you think it really, especially, for as a decor person, how do you think the guest profile itself, contributes to more interesting imagery of your work and of the property?
So we always ask the guests, especially the bride and the groom, that is if the bride and the groom are involved in the decor process, because a lot of times, like he said, Marwari clients, the bride and the groom are not coming forward.
Sure.
It's generally the parents who are taking all the decisions, even for decor.
Yeah.
So then we always ask them that where did they first meet, how did they meet, what was the proposal like, everything, and then we try to incorporate all of that in our decor.
Right.
So that's how the couple's personalities, that's the way we bring it out.
And does the couple's own, enthusiasm in social media really help you? And the guests, of course,
Definitely. Because that's the new thing. Everybody wants the wedding to trend. Like, I've not met a bride till now who doesn't want to trend on Instagram.
And obviously, if there's some influencers in the guest list, that's the best. That's best. I mean, having
Yeah,
an influencer bride or
definitely.
groom may not be the best thing, but to have influencers in the guest list is even better. Yeah.
Definitely.
Zashank is smiling when I said that, but that's really true, because quite often with an influencer couple, I mean, I know a lot of properties are interested in influencers, but it may not always be feasible for the property or the planner to. Am I right? Please go ahead.
No,
Yeah.
so it's actually very interesting. It helps, it helps a lot because it's promoting the hotel more than that. And, every single time they're like, okay, we've gone here for a hotel. Nowadays, brides want to do one up always, right?
Right.
So it actually helps to know where others are getting married. So influencers do that much better.
Yeah, I think the wedding you're talking about, Muscat, it's because of the Bollywood presence at the guest list. This was Kunal Raval's sister's wedding. You're referring to that.
That one which made it popular, yeah.
So sometimes even if the couple are not big on social media, if you have 10 guests who are big on social media, talking about the distance, question for you, Zashank, what is the distance they are okay with right now?
So I would say if distance-wise, I think 3 to 4 hours flights are something which people are very, very comfortable.
Obviously.
But nowadays a lot of younger weddings happen and they're okay to take like layover flights as well or charter them, for that matter. And charters have become a very big part,
I think the
of
Charter
travel.
X guys are also here. Achin's friends, they introduced me. Yeah, I think they are here. Yeah, great. Achint, what about in your case? Are the clients open to changing?
Well, see, today now more and more destinations have opened up.
Yeah.
We are all aware about this. We have all done a first this year. I think post-COVID. There are new destinations, and people are open. If you give them a destination which fits into their scheme of things, which is a beautiful location, great food, and a little bit travel here and there won't make a difference.
Ideally 3 to 5 hours, but they
5
make
to 6
exceptions.
hours also is okay.
You can stretch it to 6 hours.
Unless there's a layover flight.
What is the frequency of flights right now to Mauritius?
We have 6 a week from Bombay, and it's a 6-hour flight.
Okay.
So I'm very happy when he says 6 hours.
Yes.
I had a sigh of relief.
Yeah, till now it was 5, but I think 6. Also, post-COVID, this whole joy of traveling is something else. It's not about, people may not look forward to the 12-hour travel, but we've stayed away from long travels for a long time, and when now that it's possible. And what about the visa-related stuff? How does it
Visa in Mauritius is free. It's on arrival.
It's on
So
arrival.
visa is not an issue. Passport validity is not an issue.
Okay.
Your travel date back from Mauritius needs to be 1 day after your
Sure.
ticket. We are easy. We are very friendly.
Great. Again, this question is both for. I think there was a time when Mauritius had an incentive program for planners.
We do.
You still have it?
We still have the VAT refund scheme where
Okay.
the VAT, which is 15%, is refunded on the accommodation part. The thing is that there need to be 50 people traveling together
Okay.
and staying for 3 nights.
Okay.
Works very well for us for Indian weddings, but typically Indian weddings are 3 evenings.
Right.
So it's working very well for us.
Darshan, do you think this incentive scheme, is it easy to, I know Thailand has been trying to do it. A lot of countries have probably, since there's some tourism boards here, what do you think about the incentive programs?
Mixed feelings. Some of the incentive programs are good for a sales pitch, but they don't really work in practicality. And some of the incentives really work in practicality because honestly, the last thing you want to get for incentives is stuck in red tape. You know, in terms of fill this form, fill that form, get this, go here, go there, you know, and sometimes it just, the client kind of, you know, as a planner, as a client, you know, this thing is not worth the hassle. So it's a mix, I have a mixed feeling on these kind of things. Some of them work really well. Some of
True.
them are like stuck in,
I think it's a good marketing material, but sometimes many tourism boards are not able to pull it off.
Yes, I agree. It can be a gimmick, but in our case, it is not a gimmick because, like Darshan said, red tape and all, there is no red tape. We will not ask you to fill up any forms. Your DMC will do it for you. He'll facilitate. So as a wedding planner or as a client, you don't need to worry about that.
No, I'm not talking about you anyway.
Generally,
Hari,
generic
since,
thing, yeah.
since you're also doing a lot of events, what about the event industry? Are there any tourism boards which have these incentives?
So in fact, when I did last with Mauritius, there was an incentive at that time. And I'd taken 50 CEOs with their wives. And the CEOs were coming from all other parts of the world other than India. And there was an incentive because I was getting 50 CEOs from the top banks. Where what they did was, in the flight, they got, so Air Mauritius flight, which was coming from their countries, they got upgraded to business class by an economy class ticket. So how that happened, so we spoke to the Mauritian counterpart here, and they coordinated the whole thing for us, and the tickets were issued for those guys. And it was to promote tourism in Mauritius, and it
so-
worked out very well.
No,
So I got 50 CEOs paying economy class tickets, bumped into business class.
But were there 50
And-
seats in business class?
No. So they were coming from different parts of the world.
Different, okay, yeah.
So they were
Then
not
yes.
coming from one area. It's
Yeah,
not like
okay.
Bombay people are going all 50 together. It was all from different areas.
Yeah, so
so there
incentive-
was a good incentive. So they said that only wherever Air Mauritius is flying, we will do that.
The incentive is still there. It's a common incentive for mice and weddings.
So it worked well.
So we'll end before we have a quick Q&A. We have exactly 10 minutes left or even less than that. This question is a little dreamy question. And I'll start with Pooja. One destination where you've not orchestrated a wedding but are waiting to.
Italy,
Italy. Where in Italy?
definitely. Southern Italy, Positano, Sorrento, Amalfi Coast, that section.
Achint, for the man who's planned a wedding almost everywhere around the world.
Well, you're aware about it. We're doing our first in Switzerland now in May.
Nice.
It's always been a dream to work in Switzerland, and we're doing this now in this May. Yeah.
We all know how Switzerland, really, we are from the generation where we've seen Switzerland in every second movie. Yes.
Ask me how I love to go for the recce's,
Never crib, huh? What about you, Zashank?
He might break all the records. Huh?
Oh, yes. Zashank.
I would say Spain. Spain as a country would definitely like to do a wedding there. It's beautiful, scenic.
So in scenic Spain and in India?
In India, I would definitely want to go to the northeast side of it. It's
Sure.
unexplored. We've seen it at personal vacations, but I think there's great potential.
And for the next panel discussion, where of course many of our panelists are already here, we will talk about which are the destinations in India, which really where we are hoping that there will be more five-star hotels, because as a planner you already know there's Rajasthan, Goa, Kerala, and maybe there's Mahabalipuram and there's now there's Mayfair, Siliguri. But imagine that's just such few destinations in a country where the rest of the world is wooing us, right? And we were just talking, if you want to do a wedding in June in India, the only option is all year good weather, Bangalore. Yeah. So Zashank has spoken about Northeast. What about you, Darshan?
Domestically?
Domestically.
Well, it's not quite domestic, but I think Bhutan, which is kind of quasi-India, there's no restrictions for Indian citizens. I think it's a really great place. Obviously, it's got its huge challenges, but I think if all challenges can be overcome, I think Bhutan and Paro would be good. And
The land of happiness.
yes, the land of happiness. Internationally, if you go say, I would probably my preference would be Spain as well. Spain or the south coast of Portugal or something like that.
Great. Hari, since you are from Kerala, tell us about a location in Kerala where you want to do a wedding.
So actually, when I did the first wedding at Taj Kolam, so we did a floating stage at the lagoon area, and that I think was one highlight which is very rare in a Kerala property, because yes, Taj Bekal came in later, but that property with Leela was a good combination to do two functions, and that worked out fantastic. So that's an ideal Kerala
Which was
destination
built
wedding.
with Kovalam and
Taj Kolam and Leela Kolam.
Leela Kovalam. Perfect.
Those are the, I think there's nothing better than
Yeah.
that to do both your functions. So you can do Sangeet in
Where
one and
any
wedding.
place else in
And-
India where you would like to do a
And
wedding?
I think Gulmarg, Kashmir is something which I'm planning something with a client, and I hope it gets finalized, because that's something like a dream again.
Just curious, which are the properties right now in Gulmarg which are, have any of you traveled to
So,
Gulmarg?
so in fact, there are properties coming up. In fact, I'm talking to with ITC itself.
Okay.
In fact, we are having a chat. So let's see.
Zashank, have you been to Gulmarg by any chance?
No, but Srinagar, we just did something, in fact, last week. So a small corporate event, though, not a.
What about you, Achint? Have you traveled?
No, I haven't been there.
How come
He's going
Himachal?
to Switzerland, and I'll be in Gulmarg.
I'm a Himachali guy, na brother. I go to Himachal all the time.
Okay, great. The rapid fire. So the first question, we'll start with Divya. Your first destination wedding in India, where was it?
It was actually in Udaipur with Hari.
At Jagmandir.
Yes, it was at Jagmandir, as well as Anana Mahal, the City Palace, Uday Vilas, and a few other properties. It was a 7-property wedding, and it was the first time I've ever
and
worked
you worked
in
with
India.
Hari without any WhatsApp group.
Yes, without any WhatsApp. I think we were trying to use our BB pins at that point, or well, our BBMs, and trying to get network in Udaipur was quite a challenge.
Great. Megha, where was it for you in India?
It was Goa.
Goa.
Zuri, yeah. I yet
Zuri,
remember.
Goa, and internationally?
Internationally was Thailand.
Where in Thailand?
It was at Hawaiian Inn. Yeah. Yeah.
The destination wedding hotspot.
Yeah, the most easiest one.
Akash.
Well, mine was at Sheraton Mahabalipuram, and international was Angsana Laguna, Phuket.
Great.
Yeah.
Devang.
So first, domestic wedding, it happened. It was a story, actually. We started from Udaipur. Apparently, the same client, we did an event in Macau at Galaxy. So we were supposed to book Venetian, and then we went for a tea tour, and we found Galaxy was much brighter and newly made property, and we did a destination wedding at Galaxy.
Udaipur and Macau, these were your first. Great. What about yours, Nandini, in India?
Mine was Goa. It was a very, very small, intimate wedding of 60 people. So that was my first destination, Goa, yeah.
Great. Nimish, I'm looking forward to the international one you did.
International, I think it was Mauritius, and domestic was Udaipur as usual, because I think 2004 and 5 back then, Udaipur was only one of those destination cities in India.
Okay. Divya, how many hours do you sleep when you're at a high energy destination wedding?
So I think I'm running on about 3 hours, 4 hours of sleep. I love it. Like, I want to be there at my events from start to end, so I have no intention of sleeping. I only go to sleep if I need to.
Megha.
I think as wedding photographers, we are a little more privileged than them, so we at least grab about 6-7 hours. 7 hours is a good timeline to say that's the number of hours that a client sleeps at a wedding, and then that's the number of hours we get to. Unlike, we don't have to create setups, so.
Nice. Akash.
I think somewhere between 45 minutes to 3 hours. It depends.
I like
mean,
that
how
answer.
hectic.
I thought he'll say 1 hour, but 45 minutes sounds much cooler.
Very specific.
Devang.
So we actually make our clients as our friends. Usually, it happens that we party with them. So I think we hardly sleep, then we party with our team. We had a nice meals, supper with them, morning breakfast or early breakfast, and then the setup. So maybe I think in our show, our 2, I guess.
2 to 3 hours.
2 to 3 hours.
Nandini.
Right, I would say 4 to 5 hours. And the power naps when there is no 4 to 5 hours. That
Nimish,
helps
I'll
a
ask
lot.
you a question with a difference. How many days have you gone without sleep? At an international desk? Pre-WhatsApp days, yeah.
Pre-WhatsApp days, it was a nightmare. I mean, we used to do 5-6 nights in a row with 2 hours. But I think none of us love our sleep. We love our work and we're very passionate. So everybody doesn't want to go till the last guest leaves. And that's why, you know, we only get like 2-3 hours of sleep.
2-3 hours. So you've gone for like 5 days with just 2-3 days.
You still do it. I mean, if you do a destination wedding today, even today's time, by the time the last guest leaves, it's 5 a.m. and you close the bar and you do the counting, and by the time the guest wakes up, it's about 9 o'clock. So you like 3 hours for straight 4 days in a row is an average.
Megha, as a photographer, you are on your feet. There's not much. And you travel to many more places because as a photographer, you do many more weddings than a planner. What is it that you keep in mind when it comes to food? Do you trial the local food, or is there something which you usually have, which keeps you energized?
So I think typically we hardly get time to eat because I think that's the time when the bride and groom sit down to eat is when we are allowed to eat types. But it's more grabbing a bite from the buffet. It's never about exploring outside food. Unless and until when we do pre-weddings, I think that's our time when we really explore a destination. Like this year, we've done Vietnam, we've done Cambodia, we've done Varanasi as a pre-wedding destination. So I think these are the times when we really get to explore the roadside cuisines. But otherwise, we're typically sticking to the cuisines, you know, provided by the hotel.
And you very often don't even know what you're eating.
And I think we always, when we're at weddings, everyone from my team, we only crave for dal chawal. So I think we're those dal chawal and those khichdi people. When we're in Chennai, we want to have the curd rice over there. So I think everyone has that comfort food is what we all crave for.
Great.
It's never about the larger than life, cuisines at that point.
Before we go on to the food question, my question is for Devang. Which is the wedding for which you did the maximum number of recce's?
So it's happening right now, Vietnam.
How many recce's have you already done?
We've already done 5 of it.
5 recce's done.
Yeah.
And how many more to go?
So more, I think we are about to, because 18th February is the wedding start.
So hopefully not more than one
not
more.
more than one.
Nice. And Nimish, which is the wedding for which you have done the maximum number of recce's?
We had done this first ever wedding in Monte Carlo, where we did about 6 recce's because we only had 4 months to pull that off. So really had to go there and, you know, sort things out. And so it all depends on the destination and the time given.
Akash, which is the wedding for which you have done the most number of food tastings? Or how many?
I think all. Knowing me, you
and
should
he
know.
doesn't, as a wedding planner and a foodie,
Yeah,
no complaints there for Akash. He
So
doesn't
I
mind.
think all. I go for all food tastings.
Okay, I know that, Akash, yeah. Great. Okay, so we now move on to our, the subject, which is wedding venue marketing insights. It is such a challenge for, hoteliers as well as venue owners when they are building a new property. Typically, for many properties, the percentage of billings from weddings could be anywhere from 20 to 40%. So what should the room inventory be? How many spaces should you have? And of course, banquet. What should be the size? Because when there's no wedding, and if it's not one of those destinations which is doing conference, what will you do with a banquet? So these are all things for which we are hoping to come up with these insights. But the first question really is for Divya Chadda. See, there's the DOSM, the team, the destination, and the property. But we all know, while the destination, we know it's Udaipur, which a lot of people want. We know if it's Jaipur, there's a Fairmont brand. But finally, it's also the person there. So in the case of you've done so many destination weddings, particularly for UK NRIs. Is it sometimes the team, the DOSM, or the general manager who've really got, who have been the reason why the deal has happened at the hotel?
So I have mixed feelings about that one. Genuinely, I think most of the DOSMs that get involved when it comes to the wedding pitch, they're great. Some of them have amazing personalities, and they really know how to run their business. They do an even better job than the in-house team. They know how to convince a client. So I think it does make a difference, but also at the same time, it all comes down to the entire vibe of the property. How they like the look and feel of the property, how they like the rooms, the food, the overall. The bonus is a good team. And honestly, I think it's the wedding planner that sells the property. It's not the team. To be really, really
True.
honest, it's always the wedding planner that sells the property.
So you've put it very well. Like you told me about the vibe of Fort Rajwada in Jaisalmer. We have Vinay sitting here, and you told me the vibe it has. Yeah.
Yes.
But the vibe. So you're saying it's really the vibe.
It's definitely the vibe, because at the end of it, you could have an amazing property, right? But if it is too big, if it is too spacious, if there's too much walking around, if the...
And no matter how good the GM is, how amiable he is, how dynamic the DOSM is, would you like to add to that,
Yeah, I
Nimish?
think it's the entire, I would say there is a package with the property. It's not only the property, it's also the people around it, the people behind it who's going to actually go to put the whole wedding together. So I think there's I would recommend like a 30-40%. Depends on the team there. Even if you have a fabulous property but a very bad team, you're going to get a
But
nightmare.
have you seen some properties doing better than the others because of the team factor, or is it usually the vibe factor?
I think I would agree. It's overall the vibe, and once you get to a venue, you understand this
Then
is
as a
like
planner, you
wow
are
wedding.
expected to know how to make them work.
Yeah.
Would you like
we
to add to
Yeah,
that,
I
Devang?
would like to add, because most of the time, I mean, the wedding planners are the influencers to sell the properties and the destinations also, I can say. So, first of all, let me add, Fort Rajwada happens to be my favorite also, when I personally stay there. So when we sell Jaisalmer or the destinations like something like which is logistically challenging.
Yeah.
So there, if you are not in a safe edge, if the property, the team is not wedding friendly. So when I mean to say wedding friendly, I would rate the properties like Fairmont or Ananta. In that case, we make a WhatsApp group, and at the 11th hour also, people are ready to help us there. Because there are a lot of things which comes up lately, ye chahiye, rituals ka kuch saman bhul gayi family. So recently, I mean, we were doing an event at Rambagh, and bride's mother, she forgot that Srifal. I mean, though it was in the list, the pujari was supposed to get it. We had to shuffle. So someone from the property helped us out. So it has to be very, very wedding friendly property, and DOSMs, of course, it works a lot, because at the end, what boils down is the overall number, what you shell out from the pocket. That matters a lot, and that DOSM plays a role, major role of that.
So obviously, to have the team members as your friends really makes your life easy as a wedding planner. But finally, what really sells the property is the vibe of it. Yeah. And then, of course, as a team, you are expected to work with it. Okay. Akash, what do you think has really changed post-COVID when it comes to pricing? When it comes to India? And of course, I will get Nimish to add on to it. Have the numbers just gone up, or
way up?
Okay,
Let's not even discuss this.
I'll let Nimish start with it. Yes, Nimish's pet
I
question.
think post-COVID, I think the hotel industry has made a killing, and the numbers are like actually way beyond. And we're really wondering. Actually, we're only hoping that more of international destinations open up and we can travel abroad, so these rates in India can actually come down. Currently, the hotel rates in India are, way beyond we thought that it could do, and it's not going to do well to anybody. It's just a bubble post-COVID, I think.
Akash?
I think I agree with Nimish Bhai, and I feel that I think destinations abroad are offering much better prices. They're being more flexible. The services are definitely way more
But
better.
are they equipped to handle the Great Indian Wedding? Devang, I would like you to answer that. Yeah.
Yeah, but they're trying.
Sorry.
So yeah, that's the catch. In case even if
The
you're
pricing is there. They are
if
wooing
you're paying
Indian wedding
less
planners,
as a CP, then you add up. Like I'm traveling with 40 chefs from India, plus the waiters and.
See,
blah,
you're
blah,
lucky to have a client who is willing to spend that, but not all Indian families will agree to fly down 40 chefs, right?
So if you evaluate the overall billing, it's definitely going to be more expensive. And at times what happens, I mean the properties in Jaipur, for example, if they are steep, but they're steep at particular Shava dates, When you talk about other weddings, like, if I'm talking about the weddings between 15 December to 31st, where usually we do Sindhi weddings. I did a Leela Jaipur. So we get a good deal. So when it's a give and take relationship. When you support a property in off season, they will definitely support you in the season also.
Since you're a Gujarati, I knew the food factor would come in, and it's not easy, right? And I mean, I know international hotels are doing everything, but the reality is quite different. But we'll come to that. Talking of auspicious dates, my question to you is, Nandini, do auspicious dates matter for your clients?
I think mostly 60% it still does, but we've had clients who's chosen a date because that's the date when they started dating, the anniversary of it. So it's slowly changing, but majorly I feel still we have a set of
So
clients.
60% of your clients, dates matter.
Yeah,
Devang?
100%, yeah.
Absolutely.
60% or more?
Absolutely.
Akash?
A little more than 60%. I think 80 to 90% because Gujarati, Marwadis, they prefer.
Megha? You have mix from Sindhis, Punjabis, Marwadis.
I think it's a mix. Pre-COVID, I didn't see that shift happen at all because everything used to come on your most heaviest date. So I think a good shift that COVID did get in is where the price factors. So I know we're doing a wedding in Turkey right now, which is on an off-season date. Because the property was free and they got a really good deal. So I think that mindset in a Marwadi household is also changing. June has a lot of weddings. July has weddings this year. So which was never the case when you go back 5 years back. 5 years back, we used to only operate for around 6 months on floor. Now we're at least operating for around 9 months on floor, which is great.
Do auspicious dates matter for your clients, Divya?
So as you know, I only deal with NRI clients, and very honestly, the auspicious date does not matter for them because for them, their bigger concern is actually being able to get weddings when they have vacation. So they factor in things like when they've got work holiday, when they can take leave from work, factoring in if they've got guests traveling from the UK or the US, does it fall under Thanksgiving? Is it more of a Christmas break? Or is it towards Easter time? So typically, anything that works and falls on a weekend and does not inconvenience people flight-wise, that's what they want.
Great.
And also, the auspicious dates are like excessively pricey. They are. They're extra pricey, so might as well do it on another date.
Great. Pricey, you said, right?
Very
Obviously.
pricey.
And it works well for the hotels that the auspicious. And, you know, the way it is for marketing in India, if you go to many marketing managers' desk also, you will find it's not just weddings. The way the demand for everything from cosmetics to, household goods, it's all dependent on, obviously not even, you have not just, they obviously don't have auspicious dates to buy, but all very festival-led.
Can I add something? So one major shift post-COVID, there are a lot of other social activities also happening. So it's not only weddings actually, per se. Okay. So when we talk about auspicious date, it is only weddings when it comes to.
So it's not just...
so people are actually spending a lot for 25th or 40th birthdays, or people are celebrating now.
So, talking about, again, this is something very important. We've talked about this. A lot of venues are in India, as Nimish has put it, their prices have gone up. But, internationally, while they're opening doors, there is a lot to be done when the preparation factor, right? Nimish, do you agree?
I think another, maybe a year, and you'll see a vast difference of weddings happening more internationally than India. Currently, because of that travel restrictions, Indian prices have gone up.
Okay.
But we are hoping that in another year, I think it should all open up and good for all of us.
Sure. Yeah, sure.
A lot of people compare the hotel to hotel prices, saying a Jaipur to a Dubai, but what they don't put into consideration is that the travel and the other logistics expenses that today one has from a Dubai airport to a Fujairah is super expensive, or for that matter, even from a Thailand airport to a Hawaiian Inn. But you always compare the hotel price, your per night price.
I think that's the base discussion.
Yeah, but that's a base discussion, but not realizing what the client gets into. Eventually, you'll end up spending more at an international space because your flight tickets are more, your business classes are more, which here you would yet do a 1.5 hour local flight, right? Like you'll just you'll just do a normal travel. Your clothes can go in a tempo. Here, what do you do? So I think these prices is something that clients don't put into consideration. They just see the hotel to hotel, and that's what they decide, their decision making.
Sure. Nandini, for your destination weddings, do you have clients who ask for an outside caterer, or they are quite happy with the hotel food? How does it like?
I think majorly it is hotel food. But say, for example, we are having a wedding next month in ITC Goa. So it's a mix between Gujarati and the Tamil Telugu mix.
Yeah.
So wherein they are flying chefs where they want a sit-down proper Elayuta sort of a thing, where they are flying chefs from Chennai. So
But it's ITC chefs only.
ITC chefs only.
That's
yeah.
the advantage
So,
of working with a chain.
correct. Yeah.
That you
yeah.
don't have to get outside caterers.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
Devang, this question is for you. What percentage of your weddings do they want outside caterer?
So nowadays hotels are really friendly. I always tell my
And it's
clients
changed
that
a lot post-COVID. They are more flexible when it comes to food.
yeah, hotels are flexible enough to get the charts and suites. Of course, if you talk about brands. Otherwise, like properties like Westin Pushkar, if I talk about, then yeah, they allow the outside catering. But we generally, I sit with my client and say that ki when you are explaining, when you sit with a chef, you explain that what you want exactly. That person also, he will be able to make according to your taste. You know, why you want to get in all jing bang from outside. So when you get a caterer from
But
outside,
internationally, especially if it's a high-profile client, you have to take
we
Indian
have
chef.
to. We take over the entire kitchen. So that is how it happens, and even hotel allows that basically. So 90% of all our international weddings, we have to take the caterer of food from India, of course. May it be Turkey, may it be Bali, or Bali. Fortunately, we have a good Indian food available there. But yeah, places like Vietnam, we have to.
Akash, which property in India you think has done an exceptional job of marketing itself as a wedding destination?
I think Udaipur and Jaipur, hands down.
No, any particular property? Not a destination.
Property-wise, I think Jaipur is Fairmont and Leela.
Of course.
And Udaipur, I would say Leela for smaller weddings, and for intimate weddings, there's Jag Mandir and all these places, Fateh Niwas and Shiv Niwas and
Is it
stuff.
Fateh Niwas?
Fateh Prakash.
Fateh Prakash.
Yeah, Fateh Prakash.
What about you, Megha? You've been to many.
So when I talk about marketing, I think I see Hyatt off lately do some really, really quirky, and I think Hyatt is really nailing it with the space of doing weddings. Like
And the way they are marketing Hyatt, Dehradun.
Yeah,
and,
and I think, I think off lately I've observed Hyatt doing some really good ads. I think their creative team is doing a fantastic job.
Yeah, we'll have to see how much the ads help.
How much
sell.
the ads help, and
because
the
it's
whole
a very
communication.
unconventional thing.
Yeah, and
But
the whole
I think,
communication.
I have my own views on that. But I think Hyatt has really, it's something like a business hotel. Hyatt was always perceived as a business hotel.
Right,
Today,
so it's a mind shift.
Today,
that they're trying.
they have an amazing head of sales in Bombay who is making the extra effort to engage with wedding planners. And similarly, I feel sometimes it's just not about marketing, but it's about the property being there at the right time. And a case in point being the JW Golf Shire.
The Golf Shire
which
is doing so well.
Which is really
yeah.
raking it in right now. Achint was talking about Golf Shire. And of course, you have the good old Fairmont and Leela.
Yeah. And I think even Marriott hotels, for that matter, like even they've been going leaps and bounds to make sure that, they have that hospitality, because at the end of the day, you are always coming for hospitality. And I think with weddings, it's a good food which nails the deal. So I think Marriott has been fairly doing a great job with.
And there are those who have just been there at the right time. And talking about locations, for example, JW Marriott Mussoorie, who would have known that they'll be doing so well? And it was all a lot due to COVID, among other factors. Similarly, Mayfair, Siliguri. But talking about locations, are there any locations you feel, you've talked about the pricing, of course, Nimish, where there's a potential for many more destination wedding properties now that the market is only growing?
Yeah, I think there are smaller towns like Siliguri has only Mayfair. There's a great opportunity for another brand to come in there. Dehradun is still, with the new ITC.
Yeah, and Hyatt is quite expensive. It's more expensive
So
than...
I think there are smaller now places where people can fly down to, are great opportunities for brands to come there and build good hotels. In India, I would say like Udaipur, Goa and all are not done now. We need much more larger, even the north.
We have Jaisalmer, which we see. Now we know there's a high-profile wedding which is going to happen. And Vinay is very upbeat thanks to that. And of course, we hope to see more weddings in Bikaner and Pushkar also.
Yeah, we should. I mean, there's a property
Also, Bangalore's picking up with the kind of properties that they've had with Hilton coming up, with your Hilton Manyata Park, your Leela over there. So I think even Bangalore as a destination for its great weather that it offers.
Yeah.
And with Marriott Golshire.
And
you
the
know,
number of the percentage of NRIs who may not be able to go to Rajasthan. Talking of the South, I think it's Rajasthan, it's in their DNA that they really know. And another big advantage with Rajasthan has is they're right next to Gujarat. So we all know Marwadi and Gujarati market, how important it is. But we see the growing market for South Indians. Both Nandini and Megha are in Bangalore. It's a very interesting market. Any locations in Karnataka? Of course, we know about Kerala. Kerala has taken a huge stall here. they are spending. I think Kerala is one destination within India which spends a lot. But if you look at the south, are there any particular destinations which you feel should market themselves
Right.
more?
Humpy, for that matter, so there's very limited property, like, you know, it's
There's
Hyatt.
a Hyatt there,
and
yeah,
then
which is
Evolve back.
in the middle of an industrial township.
Right,
Yeah.
and there's Evolve back. I feel Humpy has a lot more potential with palatial views and...
But again, there's another factor there. That's a 5-hour drive from Bangalore.
Right, so,
yeah. You know, whatever said and done, any property which is 5 hours drive from the closest airport, there's a challenge.
Yeah, it's a challenge. I think, but what really does well right now is your Mahabalipuram, and they've now created a property which looks like a mahal, and so they've been really marketing that property.
Samudra?
Yeah, and they've been, marketing themselves so well, and it's a very, very pretty, very picturestically. So I think that entire belt of Mahabalipuram has taken over the kind of weddings.
It's a matter of time, because nobody knew that. Like we spoke about the JW Mussoorie, it's a 3-hour drive from airport, 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
And still it's doing like 10 weddings a month,
True.
So
Of
people
course,
are ready to take
one
that
big
travel
advantage
now.
that it's at the hill station. So it's
So people are ready to take that drive now. People are ready to drive 3.5 hours to get to Mussoorie.
But of course, one thing which is very unique about Indian weddings is that the number of senior citizens and elders who are there. So that's how it's very different from, the youngsters have to take the blessings. Divya, since you live between London and Bombay, you do know that packages really work well for international people. Do you think there's any possibility of it making some kind of is it possible to even happen in India for those who may not want to have the 2 CR or the 3 CR wedding?
Well, honestly, yeah, it can work because packages put structures into place, right? So you already know that if you're spending X amount or you want XYZ service, so this can be offered. This can be offered. So when, for example, if you look at a European wedding packages, they tell you very fixed, okay, if you come here, you need to do a minimum of X number of people. So 100 people, we'll give you X number of meals in this price. This is the kind of decor we will offer for it. This is what you will get. So you actually have a very systematic way of working. This will not be elaborate. This will not be, over the top. This will not be extra grand, but it is enough for someone to feel like, hey, if we're on a restricted budget, we can work on this. And within India itself, I think it is feasible to do this because you have a lot of the mid-market range of clients or smaller towns that want to do destination weddings, but obviously cannot afford the 1 CR, 2 CR, 3 CR weddings, but they want to do something in a 30 lakh, 50 lakh, and it is possible. Because
But
at the
Nimish,
end of
do you
the
think
day,
that is really one issue in India where there's a certain scalability of the wedding business, right? That typically for most planners, they're only doing the weddings which are in a budget of at least a couple of crores, right?
That's the big wedding planners.
But what has also happened is, as Devang was saying, is we are also now doing 25th wedding anniversary, 50th birthday, 40th birthday, which are not as big scale budgeted at the weddings, but at the same time they're sustainable. They have a decent budget. They're spending about 1 crore for a 200 people party for a 40th birthday. So those places and those kind of locations and those events are now opening up in India post-COVID. We never had this kind of budgets or parties pre-COVID. So I think post-COVID, that I think all of us have seen that change. That today.
A lot of planners, I would say, they are the ones who are really, really successful in terms of business. They have really, but there's no example of a planner who is doing those weddings in the range of 25 to 30, who's been able to build the brand or scale up his business, right? Would you agree, Devang and Nimish? Yeah,
It's very difficult, that price bracket today, to put that effort and energy.
Sure.
What also happens is that once we pick up that, for example, a wedding in the month of June, and then you can't do anything else because for us
It's an equal effort.
Yeah,
It's
we
an
bring
equal
in our hours to the table.
It's an equal effort you have to put.
But
there.
equal, yeah, I mean, with a 50 lakh wedding or it's a 5 crore, you have to stand there till 4 a.m. to see the guests go home.
And a wedding event planner told me this very well. We have 5 minutes left, so we'll have a Q&A quickly. But I'll end on this note. The whole uniqueness or challenge of doing weddings in India. He said it's easier to do a 10 crore government event than to do a 10,000 rupee birthday party. Yeah, because when you have a big budget thing, there are so many people, 100 things go wrong, nobody will notice. But if it's a small birthday party, one thing goes wrong, and that billing is also gone. Yeah, great.
But Pradeep, since we are on this forum, I would like to address something.
Sure.
I think we as a wedding planners, we should also promote new destinations like SOU. SOUs came up well. Sasan Gir has a beautiful properties now.
Sasan Gir. I think we have, do we have anybody from Sasan Gir here?
Woods, Harish is there, a friend of mine. There's a beautiful, he owns a property called Woods.
Woods at Sasan Gir,
yeah,
right?
Woods at Sasan. Very beautiful property.
Oh, you visited, yeah. Would you like to just talk about it in one?
Ananta is of course there.
Can you just
Pushkar.
give the mic to Divya? Because it's very nice to see properties here. Yeah, go ahead.
So I actually just got invited to the Woods at Sasan in Gir a couple of weeks ago. And it's a beautiful, beautiful property, super intimate, 38 rooms, massive rooms, amazing outdoor space. And it follows a very sustainable, eco-friendly, bibliophile sort of concept. So everything is meant to be outside. It's you know, for someone who really wants to be in nature, and the property's core focus is getting in business who want to do something sustainable and eco-friendly. Pardon? How do you get there?
How do you get there?
So there are 3 airports. You can go to Keshad Airport, you can go to Diu Airport, or Rajkot Airport.
We have somebody from the property right there. If you can raise your hand, so Nimish can connect. If you can meet Nimish right after this, and we shall plan to go there soon.
Yes.
But sorry
It's
to interrupt
beautiful.
you, Devang, but you were talking about something very important for us as a fraternity, and can you continue before we move on to the Q&A?
Yeah, so, you know, destinations like SOU, Statue of Unity, Kevadia has a beautiful property now. World is looking to that kind of destination, actually. You know, you talk about NRIs, yeah, they want to go to this kind of place and explore the opportunity. We have properties in Dev, newly, there's a tent city coming up there. MP has a nice tent city. So these are the destinations which we can explore with a smaller bracket ticket size of the clients, basically, you know. So,
but I'll end on this note saying a lot of the picture-perfect locations in India, a wedding is not even possible. Like a lot of people will ask you if you can get married at the Show Temple, Mahabalipuram, not possible. Can you get married in the ruins of Hampi? Not possible. Can you get married in the Golden Temple? A lot of Bollywood shoots can happen there. So that, I guess, is obviously we cannot compare it, but abroad it's possible to get married in a 500-year-old or a 5,000-year-old property, or you have those museums, art galleries. The reality in India is most weddings can only happen at 5-star hotels. So, and if you talk of, you know, even
1 in 100, we get this kind of client who is as mad as us, and we sell something like this.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Like I have a dream of doing a wedding at Mykonos, for example.
Nice.
So probably 1 in 100, I might meet some client.
And I think it's very nice for you too, sometimes as a planner, very satisfying as a photographer, to step outside the 5-star hotels or the regular pre-wedding shoot things to orchestrate something which is exceptional. The only thing is you need a client who is willing to trust you for it, and you need support from the city. Otherwise, as a planner, you will only be banging your head. Yeah? Can we have a quick round of Q&As before we wind up? Sonam, one question has to come from you. We all want to hear your voice, Sonam. Yeah?
Come on, Sonam, you can do it.
So now ask which is the next destination all these planners are taking her to, right?
Hi everyone, I'm Sonam. I don't have a question, but thank you Parthiv for organizing this. It's a lot of fun to hear, the perspective of friends. We generally meet on weddings and there's no time and we're all busy running around doing our work. But it's nice to once in a while sit down, listen to your perspective. I really don't have a question today
No
at
worries.
all.
So I have one last dreamy question, of course. Which is one destination, we'll start with Nimish, where you have not done a wedding, it could be India or abroad, but you really want to do a wedding there?
I'm really looking to do a wedding in Swiss, and especially in places like Zermatt and the small town where there are no vehicles, very sustainable and just a pure location-based wedding.
Nice.
So let's hope so.
I hope music will be allowed there, Devish.
It's a small town, yeah, you can do whatever you want.
Nandini.
In India, I feel personally Leh Ladakh, because I think logistically there's a lot of issue. I mean, if we could
Leh
crack
Ladakh,
yeah,
okay.
if we could crack that, I mean, that would be one of those. Yeah, I mean, in India, yes.
Great. Devang?
So I already added that. Greece is the
Greece.
location which I would like to work at.
Great.
Maybe Mykonos or Santorini, either of it.
Akash?
I think I'd like to do it in Kashmir.
Megha?
I think from a picture perspective, we have a very long list, but I think I'll stand with Nimish who are doing Switzerland since I've just visited it right now, and I think picturistically, it's a dream. So I think anything to do with Europe, right from even the lanes of Amsterdam, like I've done a shoot there, and I think it's one of the most prettiest spaces. So yeah, a part of Europe for sure.
Divya, I'm
Kashmir
curious
is
whether
the
the location
Switzerland
is
of
going to be
India.
India or abroad. Yeah, but sorry, Akash.
I was saying Kashmir is the Switzerland of India, so.
And I like the fact that it's all about India shining for Akash here right now. Go ahead, Divya.
Well, since Switzerland has been taken up a few times now, I'm going to go with either Malta or Cyprus. Those are
And
the
in
two.
India?
In India, somewhere up in the mountains. Which mountain, I don't know. I'm geographically
Again,
challenged
not many
with that.
planners have orchestrated weddings in the mountains because we know that there are very few hotels in India which are up in the mountains and who have a room inventory of over 50. You can bet, I'm talking.
So there is that new Hyatt. There is a Hyatt that's not the Dehradun.
I know which one you're
You know
referring to.
exactly which
Yeah,
one I'm
yeah,
talking about. I'm very bad
in
with
that
names.
spiritual location, Hyatt.
It's somewhere. I can't. You know
not
what? This is
Rishikesh.
so
There's a Western
bad that I can't
Rishikesh
even
and
remember
There's a
where
Hyatt
it
which
is.
has come up in the same place where the Dalai Lama. I forgot. Yeah.
It's a gorgeous location.
McLeodganj, yes.
Thank you, that one. So the Hyatt in McLeodganj would be somewhere I would like to do, just because it looks so pretty, and then you've got beautiful backdrops, and then the hospitality and the service will be great because it's a Hyatt. The rest of the venue
And now
will
suddenly Tibetan food is, I think there are a lot of hotels who are now, looking at Tibetan food. That's not something which many of us have eaten, right? And again, talking of hotels, it's all about how do they market the experience, right? Great. One more question, and we will all come forward for a group picture. Gagan, yes,
Come on, we
I'm
have
glad.
a question. We have a question finally. Guys, you have to ask us a question. The last group got 3 questions. Where are our
No,
questions?
there were many more.
Exactly.
We had to tell 3 people, sorry, no time.
Okay, no, you all have to give us questions now. We're all sitting here. Come on.
We've been all talking about marketing a destination. We've been all talking about marketing a destination. Ananta has been in business for about 15 years now.
Can we be louder? Gagan, or come forward? Yeah, I can't hear you.
Ananta has been in business for almost about 15 years. I joined Ananta about 2 years ago. We've been really putting in a lot of effort in terms of marketing. You guys were speaking about all hotels and they were all basically branded. Ananta is a brand. None of you spoke of Ananta. Why?
It's not really marketed very much as a wedding property. It's more uber luxury FIT. That's how the marketing comes across.
So I have answer to this, Gagan. You really think that you need a marketing? You are the hotel who runs 365 days a year, okay? I mean, not a single day I feel that whenever I throw a query, I think, every time you say that we are sold out. So I believe you are wedding-friendly property
Also,
and
I
you
think
are...
there are so many properties which are there, and of course, like Aurika, Ananta,
Aurika is
and
another
which have really made more, and it's very heartening to hear of these Indian brands, right? So Taj is the example of the homegrown brand, which is taken on competition from every international brand, and it's very heartening to see Ananta making that mark.
We do all, this year, March ending, we should be doing about 100 odd weddings.
Sorry,
at
how many weddings?
About 100 odd
Wow.
weddings.
This is
at Ananta
between how many
Udaipur.
properties?
Ananta Udaipur only.
Ananta Udaipur only.
Yeah. So, but most of these weddings happen directly to us. References, clients talking, or few come through wedding planners.
And the wedding influencers, sorry.
Yes. So we want to become more friendly with you. I'll
I
connect
think you have
with
to
you
start
separately.
treating wedding planners as influencers because you know how it is, right? A lot of clients now, see, Gagan, you are such a social guy. By now, how many families in Ahmedabad will know you, Gagan? They don't have, they may say, okay, fine, I'll reach out to Gagan directly. Gagan is a Facebook friend of so many of them. And then they open the planner, right? That's how the change is, right?
Thank you so
So,
much.
Gagan, it's thanks to your Facebook friends, your own personal network, that clients approach you directly. That's the reality.
I'll follow that and I'll grow with you individually. Thank you so
Great.
much.
Okay, one last question, and we will come forward for our photo op.
I think Pooja would like to ask something.
Sorry, go ahead. Yeah, I think someone raised their hand. Yeah.
Just wanted to ask you, Maldives has been a destination that everyone loves, but I think there are various issues that wedding planners may face, like Havan is one issue or certain others. So just wanted to know if you all do weddings in Maldives and how is the experience in other countries?
So as a rule of Mauritius, Maldives, is that the idol worship is not allowed there. So you can't carry any idol frames or idol worship. So hence, Indian weddings cannot happen in Maldives, which is the law by the nation.
But you can have a pre-wedding party.
It's like a pre-wedding, post-wedding, birthdays, anniversaries, but you physically cannot have a fera. You can have a white wedding, but you can't have idol worship is an issue there. So you can't get any idol into Maldives.
Saudi Arabia tourism here. I think earlier the idol worship was not allowed, if I'm not mistaken. And of course, you can go to meet the Saudi Arabia tourism people. But I think alcohol is still not permitted in Saudi Arabia. So, hope that answers your question. But Maldives has, of course, done very well for pre and post wedding celebrations in COVID. Okay? Yeah, sure. Please go ahead. Good to hear. Good to get a question from Sri Lanka again. We're all looking forward to visiting Sri Lanka because we have not been there for quite some time.
Yes, actually, I'm representing Radisson Hotels in Galle, in Sri Lanka. Just want to check, we have been having weddings, like back-to-back weddings in 2018-19, but post-COVID, it has been very silent. We actually having about 1 or 2 weddings this year, which are
You're talking of Radisson, Sri Lanka?
Yes.
Where in Sri Lanka are you?
In Galle.
Okay.
It's in the southern coast. Just want to get a feel, are there any challenges which all are having currently with Sri Lanka or?
Okay. I've been told this is the last question. So, Galle, what do you think? Have any of you traveled to Galle? What do you see the potential? You've not traveled? Okay,
You
so
just need to organize one fan trip.
we'll do that. So I think none of them have traveled to Galle. Again, it's also about marketing the destination, and we do see 2024.
There is something happening in
Sorry to say, but there has been some like a media built up brand image of Sri Lanka right now. So everybody's scared. The client is scared to go to Sri Lanka. But now it's opening up. It's getting better. But that was the issue why Sri Lanka wasn't like in a hot selling destination for the last few months. But I think now people are looking at Sri Lanka.
So I believe more people from Sri Lanka should, more marketeers should come to the wedding planners and the influencers and explain about the destination.
And there is a market for a lot of people whose family weddings have happened in Thailand, Middle East,
Yeah.
and who may not be able to afford Europe, who are very happy to go to Sri Lanka because, again, in Sri Lanka, you have Hambantota, you have Colombo, you have Kalutara, you have Galle. I mean, I'm sure there's one more thing, but it's very interesting. Like, Devang would have gone to Turkey at least half a dozen times, but he's not. Have you been to Sri Lanka? Yeah. So that answers your question. It's just that many people have not traveled there.
Marketing. I think you just need to contact Parthiv and tell him to do one fam, and I think that's how. I think that's how it also moves, right?
Sure.
Like a destination opens up for I think a bunch of planners with a fam, and I think that's how they start selling the property.
Thank you very much, everybody.